What's up, y'all? Back here with another video. Part 3 of me being on another blind date. And look, you know what they say, third time is the charm, so let's just see if I find love today. Stick around because I promise y'all are not going to want to miss this video.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Pretty good. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you well. I can hear you well.
Okay,
So,
cool.
what's your name?
My name is Mariah. What's your name?
Mariah. Okay. My name is Kris. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How old
Contestant.
are you, Kris?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I am 26 years old. How old are you? Well, is that appropriate to ask a female, their age? Because you know what they say.
I think if they ask you first, that's probably like an appropriate follow-up question.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would necessarily ask someone who might be like older than me. I don't know about that rule.
Yeah. Okay, so in this instance, it is appropriate for me to ask what your age is, obviously.
I would say yes, because I asked
Right.
first.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So before we even get started with anything, I have a question for you. So let's just say that someone wanted to hand you $5,000 cash, like right off the bat, right? But
Okay.
they said that you had to spend a year with your most toxic ex and you could receive $10,000 cash after that year. Would you take that? I mean, this would tell me a whole bunch of about you. Would you take that $5,000 or would you take that $10,000?
Wait, so that I know exactly what you're asking.
Yeah.
So they'll give me $5,000 for doing nothing, but
Yes.
then I get $10,000 if I spend a year with my most toxic ex.
Yes, $10,000 cash, but we can also bump it up to $20,000 cash.
I think I would just take the 5,000.
So you wouldn't take the 20 if they were giving you $20,000 cash.
No.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
a year is way too long for
Yeah.
$20,000. Like, it would have to be more than my yearly salary, I think,
Yeah.
in order to consider that for me.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I just had to ask that question, to see what you thought about certain things or where your head was at,
Yeah, I think that in my mind, I'm always trying to weigh if something is logical or not, or if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And if it's a year's worth of time, I feel like I would need a year's worth of money.
Right. I mean, yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I mean,
Would
some
you
people
do that?
stumble. Would I do what?
Would you take the $20,000 to spend a year with your most toxic ex?
With my most toxic ex? I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, I didn't think that you was gonna reverse it and ask me the question.
Why not?
I mean, because it's my show, you came onto the show, so I was like, I asked the questions.
Okay. Well, you don't
But
have
no,
to answer it, I guess.
nah, I'm gonna answer it. I think that I would take the $20,000 easily.
Why?
Cause that's an extra $20,000 in your pocket, cash.
Yeah, but think about the things that you have to experience in that year.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, I mean, your opinion is your opinion.
I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I mean that year probably would be miserable, but I think that I could stick it out for $20,000 cash.
I'm confident that you could.
I mean, you don't even know me though, so how would you know?
Just the fact that you think that is worth it makes me think that you probably would be able to do it.
I mean, that's probably safe to say. I'm one to think that if I put my mind to it, I could do it. So that's just how I think. So,
Mind doesn't matter.
right, exactly.
How do you feel about Mariah so far?
I actually feel pretty good about Mariah. I mean, she seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. She seems pretty logical. She knows what she wants. So I think the date's going pretty good so far.
All right, Mariah, how do you feel about Kris so far?
Kris seems cool. He's got a lot to talk about, got a lot of questions, which is good. I don't always think of the good questions to ask.
So, Mariah, what do you like to do for fun?
to hang out with my friends. I like to work out, go outside, move my body. I don't really like running, but walking is good. And I go to like a rowing gym where it's like a spinning class, but you use rowers instead.
A spinning class? What's that?
It's like where they have the indoor bikes, and then you have a person who's like leading your workout. But I don't like riding bikes really. So
right. Yeah, for sure. So wait, so why don't you like running?
I don't know. My body's not built for it, I guess. It just it feels really strenuous for like not a lot of gain. So
yeah. I mean, like anybody could like, you could work your way up to, however long or distance wise that you would like to run.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I just don't have any desire.
Okay. So what brings you to this show? Like, are you currently looking for like love, or have you had bad relationships in the past, or like what's going on? What's your story?
I think that the chance kind of presented itself, and I am definitely in a different place in life, so why not try something different? Right.
Isn't this like a non-original way to come on like a, like a show to try to find someone that you would, be compatible with?
Yeah, this is definitely different. I mean, you usually don't like not see the person at all, so. Right,
and exactly, like it's totally blind. Like that's the crazy thing about it. So do like physical traits matter to you whenever you're looking for a partner, or what?
Yeah, I definitely think that physical attraction is important.
Okay.
Not the most important thing, because for me, attraction like builds over time with how I get along with a person or their personality. So even if a person is really attractive, if I start talking to them and it is not ideal conversation, they become like less attractive, and then vice versa. Like if I find someone not very attractive, but then I start talking to them and I have a lot in common with them, and they're funny, stuff like that makes you more attractive.
Okay, so you seem pretty open, like you seem pretty open to different things, and that's a good thing. Me being as confident as I am, I think that I fit all of those.
You're very confident. You think you'll survive a year with your toxic ex? Do you think
I think that
run whatever distance you want?
Yeah,
nice. I'm sure
literally within anything.
Gets you a lot of places.
I mean, is that sarcasm, or do you actually truly think that?
I am saying it in a sarcastic voice, although I'm sure it's true.
Do you still have the same thoughts about Mariah?
I think I still do have some of the same thoughts, but we've had a few differences within this date, and I'm hoping that it goes well, but I don't know if she's liking me as much as I like her. So just to relay and piggyback off what you said earlier about, you like someone's personality and like their true genuine self. So like, are you one to be like you're too short or you're too tall, or do you like taller men or shorter men?
I mean, I guess in general, probably someone taller than me. But
okay.
It's not like a hard, no for me if you don't fit into the height category.
Right. So there's like a height category.
Tall. Yeah, because I think that there's such thing as too tall for me personally. So even if someone is taller or shorter than I might idealize, that at the end of the day is not going to be the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay, so like, what is your ideal height, and what is too tall for someone?
Well, I'm 5'6", so I think my ideal height might be around 6 foot. I think someone who is like, I don't know, closer to 7 feet might be too tall. Like if you're like 6'10", That's
Yeah.
probably a bit too tall for me.
Right.
Um,
I mean, yeah, 7 foot is crazy tall. I mean, so I'm already starting off on the wrong foot. I don't fit your height category.
right, but like height is not like probably even the top 10 things that are most important, I think,
I
about a
mean, that's
person.
good. I mean, but you also have like an idea in your mind on how tall you would like your spouse to be.
That is true. Yes, I
You
think that
see?
there's some kind of like you always kind of picture someone maybe. I don't
Mhm.
know. I kind of picture someone, but it's I don't think that it's like a hard like stop of like,
Mm.
oh sorry, like you're even shorter than me wouldn't really
Yeah.
bother me if the other things fell into place.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
maybe like out and about, you wouldn't
Yeah.
draw my immediate attention because you're not that tall. So I'll
Right.
give you that one.
I mean, it's always about immediate attention, especially if you're out. Like someone has to pass the eye test, and if they don't pass the eye test, then you are not going to want to pursue a conversation with that person almost, right?
Right. Although this, like, there is no eye test in this situation.
Yeah,
So
no. I mean, yeah,
it's
for sure.
good for you in this situation.
I guess this is working in my favor right now since I'm already stepping off on the wrong foot. Since
Right.
we don't even need an eye test.
There you go.
Yeah. So let's just say that we left here today, and let's just say we moved together. How would you like to? Are you one to have your husband like pay all the bills? Do cooking, cleaning, or whatever the case may be, or are you one to like split bills, split laundry, or dishes, or and cleaning? What's your take on that?
I think that it probably depends on like how much money the other person is making, because like I'm a
Right.
teacher, I don't make a lot of money. So if
Yeah.
the other person makes like double what I make, I
Mhm.
would expect them to pay more bills. Yes.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
because in my opinion, it's about means and like ability. So same
Right.
thing on the opposite end. If I made double what you make, I would
Mhm.
think that I would contribute more to the bills because I'm able to. As far as chores, I mean, I am not one that loves chores, but I do them
Mhm.
because you have to. So
You
I would
definitely, yeah,
expect
you
the
have to.
same from another grown adult in the same house. Like, yeah, you don't have to love doing laundry and you don't have to do
Yeah.
every load, but would I expect you to chip in and help with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what if you have like a spouse, not saying me, but like what if you had another spouse, that was like, okay, you have to do all the chores around the house and they pay all the bills. Would you be okay with that?
And they pay all the bills.
Yeah. Or half.
Um,
Or half and you guys split a couple. Let's
I
just
think
say half.
I think I would do all the chores if they paid all of the bills and like no exception to that. So
No
so if they
exception.
wanted,
So even if like, let's just say they got laid off, like you wouldn't even help out with
okay,
the bills or anything. I mean, I'm just throwing out scenarios. I mean, because stuff happens.
if they got laid off, I would then honestly be like, well, you have some extra time on your hands, so you can help with the chores. I gotta help with the bills. You gotta help with the
Yeah.
chores.
I mean, well, at that point in time, it would just be you solely paying the bills by yourself.
So then maybe we should reverse. Maybe he should then do all the housework if I'm paying all the
Yeah.
bills.
Right. Okay. So, are you a family person? Like, are you big on like, spending time with family? Yeah.
I am. I don't necessarily think that I spend a lot of time with my like extended family, but
Yeah.
I see my mom a lot. I see my brothers and sisters a lot.
Mhm.
So I hang out with my like nuclear family quite
Yeah.
a bit, But seeing my extended family doesn't happen as often.
Right.
And sometimes it's by choice, sometimes it's not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I guess it's like, you know,
it's
what?
important. And I think I should probably spend more time with my extended family.
Mhm.
Because family is, in general, very
Yeah.
important. I know
Yeah,
that some
no, for
people
sure.
don't have as loving of families, but in
Yeah.
my situation, I think that my family is really, they care for you, and so I
Yeah.
should probably spend more time with my extended family.
Right. I mean, yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense. I mean, that's a good thing that you're a family person and you enjoy spending time with your family and you genuinely care for your family just as much as they care for you. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I am in a good situation where, you know, the care goes both ways. But like I said, I think that there are definitely some situations where it's understandable why a person might not want to be around their family.
Right. Mhm. So, question. So, how would you feel, like, how do you feel about going out on dates? So, should the man pay for everything on the date, or how do you feel? Or should they split the payment, or should they alternate? Okay, the man pays the first date, the woman pays the second date, or what's your take on that?
As far as the first date goes, I think whoever asks the other person should pay.
Right.
And then by the time that you get into a relationship, I also think it should be like a shared responsibility to pay for dates. Just like I feel like most things should be shared responsibility.
Yeah, for real.
But I know that there's an expectation that the man should always pay. I just think it's kind of like unfair that if I ask someone out and then I expect them to pay, I think that that's like a really bad expectation. Or even if I expect them to pay half but we didn't discuss it, I don't think that that's fair. And I wouldn't like for someone to do that to me. If they asked me out on a date, I would not want them to then tell me like at the end, okay, so we're gonna split this if we already didn't discuss it.
Okay, so what if it's like it's one-sided, like that side of the party has asked that other person on a date multiple times? Should they pay the whole every time? Because I've been in situations in the past where I've asked a single girl on a date multiple times, and that's not necessarily saying that we got in a relationship after the second or third date, but I've asked the girl out. So in that case, should the man still pay every time?
I think
since you just said that, so since he's asking her on a date, he should pay every time.
Yes, I think.
See, I think that even if I'm asking her on a date, that she should pay sometimes too as well. Like, no matter if I ask her on a date, you know,
So
3
you're
straight
gonna
times
ask
or 4
someone
straight
out and then
times.
expect them to pay for something that you ask. Like, you're gonna be like, hey, let's go to the movies, and they say cool, and then you're gonna be like, okay, so you pay for my movie. I don't think that makes sense.
Not even necessarily saying like a movie, because that would be kind of hard, but I'm saying, like, let's just say we went out to dinner, or or something like that. We went to go get ice cream or whatever the case may be. If I'm asking you on a date more than one time, I think that the woman should definitely have to pay that second, or if not the second, that third time. And if not that third time, even after I asked her on a date, I don't think that I could continue talking to her.
How do you feel about Kris saying that you should pay for some of the dates?
I think his logic isn't all the way there. I understand what he means, like common courtesy. I assume that someone would think the same thing, but I think he's probably just getting himself, like, hurting his own feelings with that one, to assume that someone else would think the same thing. So would you then give her that expectation when you're asking her? Would you say to her, now that this is the third date that I'm asking you on, I'm gonna expect you to pick up the bill? Because I think that clear expectations are important, and if you're going to express that to the woman before the date happens, I think that that's fine. But if you're going to ask her on a third date, not mention anything about payment, and then, like I said, at the end be like, okay, so you're gonna grab this, right?
Yeah.
I think that that's not necessarily fair, and I don't think it's fair in either way. Like, I don't necessarily think it's unfair just because you're a man. I think it would be unfair for me to do the same thing, continually ask someone out and then expect them to pay just because it's the third date. But if I didn't discuss it beforehand, that's not really fair.
So, I mean, there is a thin line right there. You know, like, I'm not going to just be bold and say, all right, I'm asking you out. This is the third time. You have to pay. I think by that time, it should be, you know, almost self-explanatory. Like, okay, this guy's asked me out 2 and 3 times. Maybe I should reciprocate and, you know, maybe treat him. But in instance, that's not how it always works. Just like you said.
Yeah, I understand that of just like common courtesy. And I think that there are a lot of women that would offer to pay, or even on the first date they might say, oh, like, let's split it. I think that there's a lot of women and men that would do that just out of courtesy.
All right, so Mariah, it's looking like our time is up. I mean, it was nice talking to you, but I just want to know your thoughts. Do you think that this is something that you could proceed with, you know, with me, or what's your take on the date?
Like I said, I think that the date went pretty well overall. I think it would probably be better to just be friends. You sound a little stubborn for me.
Okay.
And I could just foresee all of the not going anywhere arguments that may or may not happen in the future. So I think that it would probably be better to say that this was a fine blind date, but we can just be friends.
Just not for you. Okay, I respect that. Well, it was nice meeting you, and best of luck to you in the near future.
Thanks, you too.
Yep, bye.
Did you think you were going to match with Mariah?
I did think that I was going to match with Mariah. I think we had our few differences, but I didn't think that that was enough to, you know, deter us away from going on a second date. But we didn't make it to the second date, so I guess now we just have to go back to the drawing board.
Are you disappointed that you didn't match with Kris?
Not too disappointed. I don't necessarily know what I was expecting out of this anyway, so I think that he would make a really good friend, so I guess I'm not disappointed that I have a new friend out of it, but I feel okay.
So we didn't find love this time. I thought the third time was going to be the charm. I thought we had a very good date, but she obviously didn't feel the same about me as I felt about her. So we're just going to go back to the drawing board and see what's next, and hopefully we can find another contestant, or someone can find another contestant for me to come on here and hopefully find me some love.